Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Moltar, and welcome to The Merge. It is so nice to be here talking to the Growling Sidewinder audience. Him and I have been kicking around some stuff coming for the past couple weeks, and we thought we should try something new. And that something new is bringing you competitive DCS action from SATAL itself, Squadron Air-to-Air League 2019. So what's The Merge, you may be asking? Well, The Merge is going to be an episode-based series that is going to be showcasing matches and specific engagements therein those matches. This specific engagement and match features Pan Squadron, specifically Elleair, Pan Squadron's number 2, against number 15 Battleaxes. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Pan Squadron's Elleair goes off. The man is a madman coming to air combat. He takes it to him. But we're going to see how he does it. We're going to break it down. You guys are going to see the live, unedited footage. Then we're going to pause it, rewind it, and get into the specifics and the nitty-gritty. So hopefully this will be a learning experience. If not, you guys can be like, hey, Moltar, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm not the end-all, be-all with virtual air combat, but I like to think I've been around the block a little bit. So, without further ado, let's jump into the action and see how these guys get on. Jumping in with Pan Squadron's Elleair. Here we go.
正面ライト突っ込んでくる。
オッケー、撃った。900。
撃たれた。フォーク2。ノッチングライト。
サイスモーク2の方行った。
見えてる。
バンドフランキングレフト。
了解。オッケー。
フォーク2。タグスイッチ。
クリアトゥイン。
ターゲットコールド。
ついに敵もう一機来た。フランキングライト。バーネットフランキングライト。フォックス1。
了解、そいつは任せる。
撃たれた。ノッチング一旦アウト。10キロ踏み込んだ。
了解、そいつに対してフォックスはできねえ。リーディングライト。
ワンド中。
了解。
支援する。ペリピン130。フォークさん。
撃たれた。
一気落ちたな。
スモーク。
フォークス1先頭。300、15キロ。レーダーブレイク。
アウト。
ミサイルスモークコールド。
危険だ、2アウト。
了解、ワン援護する。
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of our first segment. Now, that may not have seemed very exciting to a lot of you, but let me tell you, there was actually a lot going on in there. So let's dive in, get into the dirt, and break things down. Now, right off the bat, I can imagine you guys sitting here saying, Moltar, Elleair, what's he doing? He's launching and then turning away. Why is he turning away? Let's have a look and see if we can figure it out. Some of my eagle-eye viewers may have noticed this, but given the resolutions that most of us are using today, you may not have seen that little white speck. And you may not remember that Elleair, during the onboard footage, had a missile warning tone come from his RWR. So that white speck is actually a missile contrail headed right for him. So Elleair breaks off and allows a wingman that we'll see here momentarily deal with that threat. But see, Elleair isn't a very trusting person. I mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. So he's going to put a 27 ET out, which is an IR-guided missile that you don't need to support, just to make sure that he can cover his egress while he gets situated. Now, the next thing we're going to notice is, bam! Red circle. Enemy missile contrail, right there. Remember the in-cockpit missile radar RWR warning that was going off? Right there. Elleair's egress allows him to run that into the ground. No longer a threat. Coming out of this turn, we got a lot going on after the last egress session. A lot going on screen. So I'm going to try and break this down for you. Friendly. Contrails. Bam. Right there. Other 2 contrails. 2 friendly missiles going after an enemy off screen. Bam. Right there. Now, the last thing that you may not see, bottom right left corner of the radar page and in the MFD, enemy contact that Elleair is actually sorted on. He's able to do this because his friendly that's out in front of him is engaging the primary threat that's closest to him, allowing him to engage the further secondary threat, helping his team out overall. Hope you guys were paying attention, because that team advantage that we were just talking about, right there, you can see the white line is actually a missile trail going after Elleair's wingman out in front of him. So that mutual support, this is why it's important. Elleair's about ready to put a missile out on him. Not even going to try and kill him, just going to try and push him off. Now, Elleair realizes right now, looking at his MFD screen, that the bandit is actually not hot to him. He's perpendicular to him. So he takes that opportunity to lock him up and push just a bit closer to give himself possibly a better, higher PK opportunity. And man, oh man, does that turn out to be a really good idea. Because what ends up happening is the bandit that Elleair is sorted on comes in on a Koba, who is Elleair's wingman and is in deep, deep trouble. The bandit is within 10 kilometers, under 10 kilometers, putting multiple foxes out on Elleair's comrades. So Elleair takes this moment in time to take a high PK shot. Even if it doesn't kill the bandit that he sorted on, at least it's going to save his comrade, push the bandit off, allow his teammates and himself to regroup, reformulate, and come back into the action.
了解、ワン援護する。
敵かなり近いぞ、気をつけて。
スナイダー。ビーミングレフト。プレイ
ア
プレイプレイ。
ウトヘディング160。
了解。ブラボーの2機行ってる。
了解。
もう2機不明。
ネクトトゥイン。
スパイク6オクロック。了解、2機不明。
ミサイルスモーク一発ブラボー。
フォックス1、ブラボーの正面の敵。こっちにインしてるやつ。コード600。
了解、セームコンタクト。3シップ密集。
スパイク。バレットフランキングライト。ワンノッチングライト。
了解。
スイン。
踏み込んだ、踏み込んだ。
フォックス1センターグループ17キロ。ノイ。
アルファが支援できる。
そう
ブラボーディフェンシブ。あ、じゃあ。
ターゲットコールド。ターゲットスイッチ。
オクシー、アウト。
3機コールド、次へ来ている。センターがホット。
ブラボーアウト。
アウトアウトアウト。フォックス1。センター。
了解。
敵フレア。
スリン。
ダウン、クソ、ダウン。
了解。左の方を援護する。
一番後ろ。
IR コンタクト。フォックス。アウト。
了解。
ミサイルスモーク3アウト。スプラッシュ。
フレアフレア。バーレットフレア。
了解。
了解。いや、追記中。今フレア焚いてるやつ追記中。こっちやれる。
了解、見えた。
もう一機やっている。フォックス。ミサイル焚いた。
了解。
フォックス。あ、ごめん、やられた。
Now we're into the meat and potatoes of this engagement. Elleair is starting to get into his stride. So let's rewind the action, recap what went down, and lay it all out there. Here we go. Now, first thing I want to highlight going into this, and this isn't a huge deal, it's not a deal breaker, but this is something that I think a lot of pilots overlook, is Elleair has got his head out of the cockpit, it's on a swivel, and he sees this missile smoke. And this is something that a lot of people don't notice or don't take care to mention. But if you call this out and let your team know, you may be saving somebody's life. And I get it. It's hard to see. And some of you may say, well, Moltar, I can't be looking at my sensors and out of the cockpit at the same time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mark II eyeballs every day of the week. And now let's use that situational awareness advantage to showcase why this is important. Elleair calling that out. He just saved his wingman from an R-77, allowing him to defend early. Now, here we are. You can see a missile fired by his friendly right there on a further out bandit. However, Elleair is sorted on a closer bandit who isn't hot to his position. So now, since Elleair called that missile trail, allowed his wingman to come in, he has given himself the opportunity for a possible high PK shot to remove one of the number 15 combatants from the match. Now, I just want to reiterate how important those inconsequential things end up being. Without Elleair calling that missile smoke, he wouldn't have been in the position he is now, which is in a high PK position to remove an enemy combatant from the match and further his team's position. So right now he recognizes that everybody's cold. He recognizes the bandit is now recommitted because he's shown back up on the scope. And he's getting ready to put yet another missile out. There it goes. And it flies headlong into the water. But that doesn't matter because right here we can see that the bandit made a very poor decision and ended up flying himself into the water in a panic trying to defend a second incoming threat. And the gifts just keep on coming because Elleair immediately recognizes after removing that combatant from the fray that he's got another kill opportunity off to his left side. Puts an ET out and takes him out of the match as well. However, he doesn't do it quick enough. The bandit gets a couple missiles off the rail, and bad things have the potential to show themselves very soon. Oh man, and what do you know? That is exactly what happens. One of Elleair's compadres gets taken out of the match, and now Pan Squadron is down to 2 pilots remaining instead of 3, with a singleton number 15 combatant remaining in the action area. And that 2v1 advantage that Pan Squadron had, well, that doesn't last for very long because right here, we can see Pan Squadron's Pan coming in against number 15's Drona in a head-on merge, highlighted right to the right of this screen. And unfortunately, Pan Squadron's Pan doesn't fare too well in this, leaving the fate of the match for Pan Squadron up to Elleair in a one-on-one head-on merge with number 15's Drona.
どれだ見えた敵コールド320俺だけか
ごめんなさい、死んだ。
マジかよしオールクリア RTV
Finally, here we are. Last engagement of round 1 of the merge of this episode. Pan Squadron's Elleair versus number 15's Drona. Let's break it down. Pan Squadron's Elleair actually gets the benefit of the doubt because Drona had to deal with Pan to start with. And right off the bat, you guys might say, Moltar, there's not a lot going on in this section, but like section 1, there actually is more to this than meets the eye. First, Pan Elleair has to find the enemy combatant, and he needs to be in the correct PRF mode to do that. High is really not going to do a whole lot. You either need to be an interleave or medium. Medium is better, interleave's a bit slower, but both will work. So we can see here that Pan is in interleave. Second, altitude, where we're sitting. Missiles, especially the Russian missiles, do not like to fire from very low altitude. They won't actually come off the rail. So in this case, it is very important that Pan's Elleair has the correct weapon selected. In this case, he has the R-73, an IR-guided short-range missile. If he would have had a radar-guided missile, like an ER or a 77 mounted to the fuselage, that missile may have not have come off the rail, which in actuality is what ends up costing Drona the opportunity of coming out on top, because finding out after the match, he didn't have a launch queue because he was so low and was trying to launch a 77. If you're under 10 meters, it's not going to work. And after all of that stuff going through his head, Elleair manages to come out on top, switches from radar to infrared, launches a couple 73s, and removes Drona from the competition, giving Pan Squadron the round 1 victory and eventually the overall match win, 2-0. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are at a close. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, especially Thrustmaster, for making these videos possible and for being such a huge contributor to SATAL and the prize pool. If you guys don't know, Thrustmaster put up like $7,000 worth of prizing for SATAL and the winners of both Diamond and Gold Leagues. So guys, if you haven't seen SATAL, we're live every weekend, 1400 and 1700 Zulu. If you need the links, they're going to be up on the screen right now and down in the description below. Thank you again for Growling Sidewinder for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with all of you today. Hopefully you enjoyed what you guys just saw. Make sure you like the video so that GS and I know if you guys want more of this content coming forward. That's all I got. I'm your host, Moltar, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.